U.S. President Joe Biden has announced the delegation that will attend the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Tinubu. The U.S. delegation will be led by Secretary of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia L. Fudge. The president-elect will be sworn in as the 16th president of Nigeria on May 29 at Eagle Square, right here in Abuja.
Well, as the countdown to the inauguration of the new administration continues, let's get an update on the preparations from Aliyu Audu, who's a member of Media and Publicity Subcommittee, Presidential Transition Council. Good to see you, Aliyu, and thanks for your time. Well, the time is ticking and we're almost there, and I know it's been a busy one for your committee. Paint us a picture for what Nigerians are expecting.
All right, good evening, Nigerians. Thanks for having me. The Presidential Transition Council has been, as we all know, was inaugurated in February this year by President Muhammadu Buhari to basically oversee and handle, seamlessly transition of power to the incoming government ahead of the presidential election that took place on the 25th. So what we're currently doing, is majorly consisted of members of the civil service headed by the SGF and all the other, then a few representatives of the president-elect in the committee. And as you know, like the theme for the transition is Nigeria Better Together, which is where we basically are at the moment, like about ushering in a new government that's focused on, building a united, prosperous Nigeria where every citizen feel that sense of belonging, that sense of ownership, that sense of responsibility towards making, a country work, towards making Nigeria the country that we'll all be proud of.
So it's your committee also in charge of the order of events for the day?
No, I'm the Media and Publicity Committee, basically for the, Nigeria Better Together.
Okay, I wonder what informed this Nigeria Better Together. I mean, what exactly are the underlying tones, referring to this? Because, look, I asked that because there's been a question around the complexion of the transition committee that seems to have left, some parts of the country out of the committee. I wonder whether the transition committee has actually heard that, listened to it, and what exactly it's doing to ensure that indeed it reflects this theme of Nigeria Better Together.
Okay, I don't quite understand what you mean by some part of the country left together, because if I can remember, membership composition of the transition, it's across board. You have people from different parts of the country. In any case, we're about 500 languages, 300 ethnic groups. If you had to set up, you would have to set up a team of over 500 to be able to have one person from each of those languages or one from each of the 300 ethnic groups. What the theme is actually saying is it doesn't matter, who, we pick at any point in time to represent us as a nation.
That representation, was it factored in at all in coming up with this transition committee?
I do not know.
Okay, let's talk about this. Well, the announcement by U.S. President Joe Biden, those who would make the list of those to represent the United States. It seems to be some kind of a major endorsement, coming from the U.S. president, but it hasn't gone down too well with opposition presidential candidates of the PDP and even the Labour Party who are saying, look, we're still in court. It's not in your place to, make such moves.
The contest is over.
Right.
The new government is coming in, and this government has an expiration date. May 29, and the new one will start. It doesn't in any way put any sort of, doesn't in any way inhibit the court processes going on, the tribunal going on. This isn't the first time we're having presidential election. This isn't the first time we're having presidential transition. We've had this for how many years now? It's always been this. Nothing has changed. I understand certain people who are new to the game think this is the first time. No. They need to learn about it. They need to learn about the country. They need to learn about our political processes. They need to, so that it's only when you understand the rules of the engagement, you know how to play it, then you might probably succeed at it. You know, the fact remains that there will always be election. It's part of the time. It's in the timetable. Then the winner will be sworn in. However, we have a 90-day period for you to just do whatever it is. I mean, we've seen courts, you know, remove governor and, you know, put in another governor. So that shouldn't be a problem.
Let's go back to the transition, which is something that it's a little bit still foggy for many, and it has to do with perhaps let us in on what kind of relationship between the outgoing and the incoming. What kind of conversations are you both having when you talk about having a seamless, you know, transition?
Good. The Transition Council is made up of majorly the civil service, members of the current government, then representative. There are 13 subcommittees, you know, who with one member each, you know, as a representative of the president-elect in the Transition Council. So, I mean, the one member of the 13 is supposed to take care of the political, the president-elect side of things, but in terms of governance, in terms of policies, in terms of handover notes and stuff, I mean, these are majorly done by the Presidential Transition Council. I mean, prior to this, I mean, we must give President Muhammadu Buhari credit for this. Prior to this has always been done haphazardly in the past. But in February, I think February 14 to be precise, this year, you know, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the Presidential Transition Council. I mean, it is now like, it's a formal process, you know, for transiting, you know, handing transition of power from one government to another. I mean, he went ahead to advise states to replicate same, which basically makes it easy. I mean, it's a way of showing, you know, our belief in our democratic processes, in our belief in democracy and how it should be governed. Are
you encountering any challenges at all? What are you discovering, you know, as you sit down, you know, to look at what needs to be done, the T's that need to be crossed, the I's that need to be dotted correctly? What are you discovering so far, and how are you meeting those challenges?
There are no challenges. A lot are just being learned.
Oh.
Yes.
So let us in on things learned so far.
So far.
I mean, you can be close, but not close enough. You know, as a party in power, we've been in power for 8 years, but in terms of personnel, in terms of individual, you are either in government or you are not. You know, for many of us who are politicians, who have been, you know, members of the Progressive Party, the APC, you know, though not in power, we've been close enough, we have an idea of what government is being, but, you know, actually seeing what it is, and I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about security-wise, for example, you know, preparations to ensure that everything goes well as planned on May 29, or that Eagle Square, of course, where the handing over will be done, and all of that.
Yes.
I mean, what can you tell us? What do we need to know?
I think the security team have made that clear. It's out there in the public for, I mean, they've put out what it's expected on that day for those who do not have any business around there. And I mean, I don't think, I mean, there's been a lot of concern and worries, but we are Nigerians, we know these things. Like, we are not troublemakers, really. So I don't think there'll be anything out of the ordinary on that day. Right. So I expect things to go, you know, smooth and easy. That's what we're expecting.
Audu Aliyu, Member, Media and Publicity Subcommittee, Presidential Transition Council. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And wish you the very best.